allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I was on talking something with glasses.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And while we pause for a moment, I just wanted to point out we do have a new Knob Nuster Public Schools mobile app. If you have not yet had an opportunity to download that and be in the know on everything Knob Nuster, we encourage you to do that.
And there was your commercial break. Thank you, Dr. Wheeler. Found it. Okay. I need approval of the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Public comments? And there is no correspondence as well. Recognitions.
Well, welcome everybody. This month we are bringing in all of our volunteers. And our volunteers, we had 133, I believe, volunteers who were recognized by our principals within all 4 buildings and within the district. And Tina has put together certificates for all of them that are outside on the table. But we just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to bring our volunteers who showed tonight up in front of the board and just thank them. There are countless hours that they've poured into our schools. And when we started the Partners with Education, Partners in Education Award, it honestly was for our volunteers and what they do here within the school. And tonight we have everything from just room volunteers, mentors, readers. We have our robotics volunteers here. We have volunteer coaches here. We have PTO here. And just across the board, our volunteers truly help us. And our school could not run as effective as it does without these men and women and the time that they put in to come in and pour their lives into our students as well. So without further ado, there is 133, and I don't have all the certificates in front of me. So we're just going to have all of our volunteers stand and come up to take a picture with us. But board, please recognize them, and community, please recognize them for their efforts and all that they do for the Knob Nuster students. So please, volunteers, come up front here. We are going to have you get a picture. We'll get your certificate to you afterwards. Thank
So much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just do this because
Thank you so much.
without you guys seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much for all you volunteers, because we seriously know you could, you could spend your time elsewhere. And, I know the pay is good and stuff, that, you get all the benefits and things for coming to volunteer, and they're leaving. Thank you. We appreciate you so much. Principal and directors' reports are on there. And MSBA report.
I also want to point out in this month's principal and director reports, we didn't have a report from Mrs. Sater, our food service director. So that was something that was not easily included that I wanted to mention.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's board report for the month of May. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at budgeting challenges facing Missouri's public schools. While state funding for public education through the foundation formula has increased in recent years, there remains concern about the availability of state revenue to fund public education in future years due to tax cuts approved by the General Assembly. Former Deputy Commissioner of Education, Dr. Ron Langford, says a major budget challenge on the local level is having a reasonable expectation of available revenue from state and local sources.
There is an appropriation, and the General Assembly will appropriate, but they cannot distribute more than what they have. And so, an appropriation, there's certainly we should have our gratitude for an appropriation, but if the revenue is not there going forward, then its ability to be the appropriate level. We've seen that many times. guess it's always something we should watch.
Langford adds, state funding for school transportation has dropped dramatically over time.
You look at the amount that was appropriated last year, and the amount that was spent, which was 85 million, you have to go back about 35 years before it fell to that level. But if you look at a school bus 30 years ago, the cost of one compared to now. So what happens if you gain appropriated funds through the foundation formula, but the money is for transportation, the cost of transportation continue to go up, then you're really just, instead of funding transportation, you're funding transportation now through the foundation formula or through local taxes.
State law sets a target of providing 75% of the cost of school transportation to local school districts. But right now, state funding is at about 30%, forcing local school districts to pick up a greater share of transportation funding. Langford discussed school funding issues during the recent Partners in Governance conference in Columbia. MSBA was a co-sponsor of the event, along with the Missouri Municipal League, the Missouri Association of Counties, and the Truman School of Public Affairs at the University of Missouri. Registration is now open for the 2018 MSBA Leadership Summit to be held June 2nd and 3rd at the Lake of the Ozarks. The theme of this year's event is accountability in leadership and will feature a number of general session speakers and breakout sessions related to that theme. The Leadership Summit also includes recognition of board members achieving the various levels of certification through MSBA, along with the Outstanding Boards of Education Awards. The June Delegate Assembly also meets during the Leadership Summit, where MSBA state officers are elected. This year's state officer nominees for the coming year are Rhonda Gilstrap of the Blue Springs Board of Education for President-elect, and Linda Doherty of the Nixa Board of Education for Vice President. Mike Pratt of the Gasconade County R1 Board of Education will become the new president of MSBA at the conclusion of the Leadership Summit. He served as president-elect during the past year. By the way, Mike Pratt also was elected to a seat on the National School Boards Association's Board of Directors during the recent MSBA conference held in San Antonio. Video interviews with the candidates are posted on the MSBA website, in addition to registration information for the Leadership Summit. Nominations are now being accepted for MSBA's Legacy of Leadership Awards. The Legacy of Leadership Awards are designed to honor current and former Missouri School Board members who have distinguished themselves through community service and advocacy for public education. Honorees are outstanding Missourians who have given countless hours for the betterment of their communities and to advocate for the students in our public schools. These awards are sponsored by Future Builders, a nonprofit foundation of the Missouri School Boards Association. The Carter D. Ward Excellence in Advocacy Award is designed to recognize and honor an individual board member who exhibits exemplary leadership skills in the area of public education and advocacy. The award is named for former Missouri School Boards Association Executive Director Dr. Carter D. Ward, whose career epitomized effective advocacy for public education. The Paul Morris Community Service Award was established to recognize and honor an individual school board member from Missouri, past or present, who has shown a sincere and outstanding commitment to community service. That award is named in honor of Paul Morris, a past president of MSBA, who devoted countless hours to strengthening his community and improving its schools through his volunteer work. Applications for both awards are open until June 28th and are posted on the Future Builders section of the MSBA website. Both awards will be presented at MSBA's annual conference this fall. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long, Dr. Delano.
All right, Superintendent report.
Again, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. And before we jump into my report, I just wanted to stay here on the MSBA website for a moment and point out the blog here on the headline on this critical issues alert, keeping public dollars in public schools, serving military families. We were working last week in partnership with MSBA, and this is actually a U.S. House of Representatives issue. So MSBA is making this statement about beyond just state level politics up to like national level. This is regard to House Resolution 5199. Currently, it has 65 representatives who have signed on to that bill. Vicki Hartzler has continued to pledge very solid support, which is important because along with her and Representative Graves, they serve on the House Armed Services Committee. There is some heavy lobbying towards them to sign on to that. So far, they have not. We do have Representative Billy Long, Representative Jason Smith, and I'm blanking on the third one. We do have 3 of those 65 signers coming out of Missouri, which is a bit of a concern. We have reached out to them directly and let them know our position. And frankly, we've been doing that for the past 3-4 months pretty heavily on social media and through phone call and reaching out. So we were encouraged to see MSBA join with us in Waynesville in protesting and advocating against House Resolution 5199. On my report, I want to again mention our mobile app and express thanks to Mrs. Brandt for her work in getting that done, along with many others. We're excited to see that and look forward to getting more followership on that outreach. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Hughes for a good job with some grants. I know we had a grant to Deanna Rose Farm as well as a grant on Northrop Grumman on behalf of some field trips this summer. And also we have a Lowe's grant in the amount of $5,000 to purchase a 3D printer. So we want to say thank you to Ms. Hughes for putting in the extra time on those efforts. Thank you, Ms. Mel and team. It's hard to believe, but we have just over a week left of school, and I know that the kids are counting down the days and the teachers are making the days count. So we wrapped up testing and that went really well. We're now in full steam ahead on field trips and lots of kids walking through our communities to the library, to Sonic, the B&G Scoops, and other places to try to wrap up the year with some fun. So we're excited about that and look forward to finishing strong in the next week. As was mentioned in the consent agenda, we did submit our Military Child Academic Support Program grant again this year. It was submitted on time and in good shape and requested another $1.25 billion to support the development of student leadership through Leader in Me, as well as expansion of our STEM outreach through robotics expansion into middle school and elementary schools, as well as teacher training, which would come along with another significant outlay for teacher stipends. So we expect to hear back in August on that, and just want to say thank you to Mrs. Huntsman, Mr. Cora, Mrs. Frieden, and again, Mrs. Brandt for their assistance in preparing that grant. It ended up about 100 pages, so it was a heavier lift than we anticipated, but we got it done. So thank you guys. Last Tuesday, Mr. Corn and I attended the award ceremony for Whiteman Air Force Base, and we want to again say congratulations to the Whiteman team on the prestigious Omaha Trophy. That was awarded by Stratcom for excellence in performance, and we enjoyed celebrating with the 509th and 131st and all of Team Whiteman. So again, congratulations. Last Thursday, Whiteman Area Leadership Council met, and we planned activities for the next 6 months or so. Also looked down a year ahead for planning on our annual calendar. One of the things that I want to mention is WLC will be serving as the fiscal agent for Top the Hog Smoke event with the A10s, which is a competition event that will be coming into Whiteman in the fall. That will bring A10s in from around the country to join in a friendly competition. So we look forward to seeing those A10s in the fall. But it sounds like a great event, and the ALC is looking forward to helping with that. On April 26th, Navajo High School hosted the community engagement and assessment meeting regarding White Air Force Base as an alternate location for the F-35 program. We had a very positive response and a reasonably strong turnout. We hope to have more people, but for those that did come out, they had very positive things to say. So again, thank you, Mrs. Brandt, for her point of contact work on that event. I just traveled from Saturday to Monday out to Lexington, Kentucky. Berea College hosted a Rural Education Partnership Summit alongside Whimsy and several other partners to highlight the Navajo STEM story. We continue to enjoy sharing the story that's being written by our students and our teachers on bringing high quality STEM into rural Missouri. We did have among the sponsors there, Texas Instruments now has Navajo on their radar, and we're chasing down a new funding opportunity via a new grant that we were previously unaware. So we look forward to chasing down that opportunity for our students as well. And I wanted to thank Lindsay for sponsoring that travel and that opportunity to share the Navajo story. I'm going to go a little bit different. I usually read enrollment and attendance. You guys can see that in the report. I'll jump to the bottom. We had 1491 district total attendance enrollment, attendance percentage of 95.87. And kudos goes to Whiteman Elementary for 96.34%. We love seeing those cumulative attendance rates over 96%. So good job to you guys and to the rest of the game. Financial reports for month ending, balances 14,237,124. Revenues to date is 16,467,603, which is 91.5% of anticipated. And expenditures to date, 12,187,270, which is 73.1% of budgeted. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Wheeler. I know they said they want to.
So we talked before, and we were just going to report as needed.
Okay.
We'll discuss. So I'm guessing if they were reporting, they would talk about the Omaha event, STRATCOM, F-35.
You already did.
I'll let you do my report, or ask you to do my report next month and get trade off.
So basically, you got nothing better to do tonight.
Oh, I'm enjoying it.
Okay, all right, that's cool, because we're here and we're glad you're here. Okay, on new business, I need, consent agenda, approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of bills, full board.
Motion to approve the bills for board.
I just wanted to point out to you, I know you guys saw this in your agenda item here, but we did get our first upload on the control virtual payment this month. So I just want to say thank you to Ms. Freeman for getting that going and earning those rebate dollars.
All in favor? Aye. 2018-19 meal prices.
So as those of us who have been through this agenda item before, I know this is always a discussion item. So I just want to remind the board that the state requires this meal price calculator to enter through and ensure that we are not receiving a reimbursement that is out of line with what we are charging for our students. So I've included that. Also, the proposed meal prices, it's actually proposing that we go up a little more than we have historically. On lunch for 10 cents versus what we have done was 5 cents for the last 5 years. But again, that was calculated through that calculation tool that is mandated by ESPE. And our mills are so much better now with the extra 2 cents.
Okay, so anyway, on average, food prices in the US rise 2 to 3% per year. So knowing that it went up 2 to 3%, that if we factor in a 3% food cost as opposed to the last school year, that would be a 7 cents increase on $2.45. So anyway, I get the part where you rounded it off to a dime, but like I said, you know, the food costs every year continue to rise, and they have not gone down.
Plus, we're bringing it in-house.
We do have it in-house, but not, I'm not talking about our food costs, I'm talking about US-wide food costs, that they rise. So, not like it's stagnant, it's staying the same.
What's our percentage of premiums?
I would say it's cumulative to these stages.
Didn't give up the real cost.
We had a move on that, but we didn't move this year. We took those raises back 2, 3, 4 years ago.
But we know what it costs to operate a food program. One of my concerns is I see it when I look at the bills and stuff, with the food program in general, that we have equipment code to the cost of that program, and it seems to me like we would have to find out to use that equipment bonus. I don't know why it's not just coded to building expenses instead of being taken belongs into the lunch program and then showing the overall cost of that program cost. At least one of the other districts actually show that maintenance related cost or related on that food service program. Show that against
I think it depends. You know, when you look at our custodians that work in essentially in the food service portion of, this building, our guy probably spends, at this venue, probably spends 4 hours of his day in here that isn't, coded to food service, which is probably consistent. Yeah, at least half his time or more. So we don't code some of those costs. We kind of assume those in our plant operations. We could gladly take the equipment out of food service. It's such a minor part of that overall program cost. We typically try to keep that there just so we can keep record. If we had let's say a big cooler or a freezer, like there was a $30,000 outlay, we would see that there just to create that record. But I mean, in the overall scheme of the food service program, equipment is my equipment certainly doesn't outweigh the amount of custodial hours that are included in that.
No, the only concern is comparing apples to apples with a contract or putting it out is will that equipment cost push us deeper into the red? We're forced to buy this stuff anyway, just like anything else in the building, table or the equipment or the truck, bus parts, vehicles, whatever. But as far as the increase in the lunch program, I'm going to make a motion that we increase it not recommended. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? (2018-19) classified pay schedule.
So attached, we have the proposed 2018-19 classified pay schedule and the narrative. And again, this year we're recommending a 10-cent base increase for all columns as well as vertical steps. And we believe that is congruent with the recommendation that will be made for certified staff occurring through the collective bargaining tentative agreement.
It is a motion, yes.
It was just 50 cents what they did. 10 cents, 10 cents, 8 cents, 50, 60 cents. But it's, so they would be getting 10 plus the vertical step, which is 20. And then remember 2 years ago, we added these steps 10, 15, and 20 in. You guys remember the story on that with the, we will rehash it. Those were added in, which are additional 25 cents on those highlighted columns, and that was to kind of recognize the additional help on recognizing the English service in the district.
But we did reevaluate the pay scale for a lot.
We did. Yes, of course.
This is a motion item.
If this, final amount, page 58, could be put into a percentage? What is the percentage of the increase? Do you know that?
It's going to be,
Talking about 2% of what?
Well, I'm just saying that if we did a pay increase across the board, for X amount, percentage,
This is,
what would this percentage be?
it's around, we were looking around, I want to say it's around 2.
It's around
I didn't calculate my percentages this year, by cell. Now, this is certified, like classified right now, that we're talking about, so they would get, it's consistent with what we've done the last 3 years.
Okay, and on this classified schedule, it's 2%. Well,
We would need to, I would have to run that myself, to somewhere around that.
that's pretty low.
So,
Thank you.
And I need a motion. It is requested and it's a roll call vote. Still need a motion first. I mean, this is what this is.
so,
Yes. Okay, by roll call.
I'm going to abstain. No.
Aye.
okay, we got to make a decision. I mean, when is the classified pay?
August. We'd like to have it early so we could submit letters of intent and the final marriage, but we're essentially May. It would be nice to have contracts and authorize back, including the agreement. We just, the motion is passed by the board. So So what you look at is, it seems like nothing, but when you multiply that out over the work year, by the number of hours, it could be, on a 2,000 plus hour year, you're talking about a couple hundred bucks. So, for 12 month employees. So, it seems very minimal, but when you multiply that out with the contract, plus, that's 15 cents. So let's say a person works 2,000 hours, and they get the 10 cents for the base increase, that's 200 bucks, plus they're getting the 20 cent vertical staff. So, the raises there. We can go through that if you want to look at what that means for every employee, right? Again, it's consistent with what we've done the last 7 years.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the 2018-19 certified salary schedule and include the stipend schedule as presented.
So, just some context on this chart, if you can see it a little better, I'll try to make it a little bit larger. This should look familiar to the board. We've used this chart for the last 3 years as the foundation for our collective bargaining position. So this is the chart that we've used for the last 3 years. As the board is aware, the board identified these 16 districts to create a cohort for comparison for our competitiveness.
I'd like to make a point. This is the same.
Let's wait so everybody can be engaged. Sorry.
Okay, we're on certified salary schedule right now.
Thank you. So the board identified this 16 district cohort about 2 or 3 years ago to create kind of a comparison for the districts many of the districts we directly compete against, as well as some outliers. Warsaw, some of these that we don't typically lose employees to, Pleasantville, Excelsior. But we basically took our conference, both sides, and then added in some of these were requested by the board. At the time, we had Sedalia and Warrensburg, which we do directly compete against, although they weren't in our conference. We averaged those out, and the board directed the superintendent to aim for a average of this cohort, which is kind of the marching orders that we've been working toward. If you look at the bottom, what we did out of these 16, and let's look at the top first, just so that everybody understands what we're talking about. So in this column right here, how does our bachelor base, in other words, what we pay for a beginning teacher, that base, how does that compare to these 16 districts? bachelor, column 1. So if we hire a new teacher and they never go back to college and stay right there in column 1, when they get to the bottom of that, how do we compare to what these guys offer on that same person that stays in column 1 and goes all the way down? So we took multiple points across here. This one, how many bachelor column 1 steps? What's the max number of steps that all of these 16 people districts offer? So some are 21, some are 8, 7, 9. So we took that average down here, and we see this average of 13 steps here. Nob offers 21. Bachelor's max. I'm on my data rate, that went down. We'll look at data rate. There's a little bit of difference too. I can't see that very well. Number of work days, for example, so we're looking at daily rate here. On average, everybody in the cohort works 182 days, whereas Nob teachers work 180. So we go on over here. What about bachelor's max steps? What about the employee that stays in the bachelor column but moves over maybe to a bachelor's plus 24 and then goes down? What are the max steps there? And you can see on average everybody has 17, you have 21. Bachelor's max, master's max, master's column. And interesting here on the master's number of column 1 steps. The average is 25, not even in the master's column does everybody go to all the way to 30. So we go on across and so forth. So what we can see at the bottom, and you can't really see this right here, but this is highlighted in green on your screen. I wish you guys could see that. The right here in the specialist base is the only area when we run these averages where the district is not even meeting the board-defined goal of meeting that average. So we saw that we're paying on average, we're paying about $5.30 less a day for our teachers. So I'm going to jump back up. So that was the daily rate. If you look cumulatively at the salary, we're still green all the way across, except for right here in this specialist base. My mouse is moving. And we were about $1,329 below that average. So we recognized that was the one area on the salary schedule where we really felt like we needed to move. So that was the data and the approach and the position that we worked on this year, and that's the same position that we worked from the last couple of years. So that is the basis for the recommendation for increases in salary this year. Those recommendations are as follows: 125 increase to the bachelor base, 250 increase to the master's base, and a $1,400 increase to the specialist base. And we believe that that will allow us to meet that one area where we were not meeting the board goal, and also provide some base raises for our other folks.
The 1,400 on the specialist base, how many people do that make?
We didn't really look at people in this or numbers. We looked at the board goal and the employee segments. We tried to stay away from individuals as much as we could and try to look primarily at the employee segment as it compares to the board goal. So I can tell you, I know it's not very many, which is good for us in terms of the bottom line cost, but for the segment of employees, we felt, well, the data would indicate that's when we were not meeting the board goal.
Getting back to what my statement was earlier about the percentage, the 2%, I believe you said was.
But it's going to vary.
Sure. But when we talk about percentage across the board versus what you just stated, that we don't highlight an area and specifically pick out an amount due to how many it affects. It's due to the comparison of 16 schools and what the other 15 are doing versus what Alpine is doing. And we're trying to relate in a fair manner, which is middle of the road and
Average.
most people's average. But we're actually in 8 categories here, far above, far better than average in every category.
Yes, sir.
And so that percentage that I was stating, if we were to pay across the board at a certain percentage, it would not be as fair and equivalent to all classified or certified people as this approach is. This approach is more pointed to the areas that need attention or a little more bolstering than other areas do.
Yes, sir.
So we've taken one area in obvious presentation here, which is the specialist base, and added $1,400. But we didn't know how many teachers that affected when we at first noticed that was an area where the percentage needed to be correct.
I mean, we had our scatter plot of all of our employees, so we knew the number. We tried to, again, not look and I mean, the goal was, if there were 30 employees with specialists, and we were still significantly less than the cohort, this cost would be tremendously more. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that the board goal was set to try to have all of our employee segments at least at that average mark. And guess what? When we're there, we're at average, which is okay. But once we want to keep moving that bar, especially where we need to move it. So, I mean, it would be great if everybody was, like, if you go down here to the daily rate, I mean, when we look at our bachelor side, we're at, third, first, third, fourth, third. Then you jump over here, we go down to as low as 10, 7. But we should be up closer to that average point now in that special space. And then the board and the administration teachers need to talk about, is that where we want to be? And I want to say this, average it can be good and bad, but if you look at the cohort, you take in, Sedalia, Warrensburg, Green Valley, Harrisonville, Excelsior, Oak Grove, Odessa, Pleasant Hill. We have several of our suburban districts that are competing with the likes of Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Liberty. So we want to continue to move that ticker, but we also want to be aware of who is in our cohort and why they're in it. Probably some of those are in there mainly because they're in the NYDC conference, which is who we originally used as the start to develop this cohort, if that makes sense.
And this cohort has been updated each year, because I've been on the board 3 years. And it's the same cohort we used.
The numbers have been updated, but not the cohort. The cohorts.
No, I meant the numbers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's what I meant. So this is still strategically correct today at today's amount. Just like it was 3 years ago at that time.
Yes, sir. We have not changed the approach. We're so late in the process that frankly, we probably could have pulled at least some of the salary schedules for fiscal year 19, but our approach up to this point is to use this year's salary schedules that are available in January for and do these projections. So, you know, there could be some changes that drop us below some of these rates, but we're going to look at that, and frankly, if that happens, the next year we go, okay, we probably need to do a little bit more to stay at that board target. And the board may come in and say, let's try to be at this mark based on the funding.
I'd like to make a comment. I'd love to see people just go across the board and give everybody a raise because of our success.
But a 2% raise for like a teacher is gonna be different than a 2% raise.
Exactly. If we don't pinpoint where those areas are to keep it an even keel across the board, then we're not succeeding in what our job is to forward and creation. So we have to, as you've done, identify the areas where special things, and those have to be shored up to catch up with the rest of the board and keep us equivalent in all categories. And that's not to say that perhaps in the future we will be even keel and we can just do it across the board percent. But that's not to say it will happen, but wouldn't it be nice if it did work out that way where everything was nice and even? But I want to throw this out there that it's not that the teachers don't deserve a raise of substantial varying. I mean, we have wonderful teachers, we have wonderful district, and I guess what I'm trying to put out there is that's why we've been doing the collective bargaining. If that is working, then this product right here should be agreeable to everyone on both sides of the bargaining units. And if the collective bargaining isn't working efficiently, and this is not satisfactory, then we need to discuss at a different level or angle what we do need to do to make it appropriate, because we don't want to not identify. In a good business, our job would be to make our students smarter. That's the bottom line goal. One way to do that is for the teachers put forth that effort to make them smarter, and for the teachers to continue to grow and excel just as their students. And this should reflect that entire comment on this. And so I believe that this has been a fair summary here, collection of information, and I would like to know how everyone felt about it during the collective bargaining. Of course, I wasn't in those meetings, and our representative will inform us, of course. But I just wanted to throw that information out there. We are very proud of what our teachers are doing, and I don't want them to think or understand that we are not.
I think most teachers, as it goes, that they're gonna teach regardless. They love kids and they're gonna teach regardless, because teaching is not a money-making deal. Am I right? Yeah, okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the certified salary estimate
And this time.
and this time.
I would like to make a comment. You know, it's very difficult to try to get everything right when it comes to dealing with the pay, the benefits packages, and everything for our teachers. I mean, I feel the pressure a lot, and I'm just one board member. I know these other board members feel this pressure. And we have tried to do the right thing since I've gotten on this board. In April of 2015, you can go back and look at the board meeting. It's archived. I watched it today because I'm worried about this. That particular meeting, we opted to pay full insurance benefits on the medical side, which were $566.98. So it was full board paid insurance. At that time and up to this time, I don't think there's a district out there that's willing to even do that. I mean, I was in central office today and they were doing interviews for third grade teachers, and there apparently isn't a shortage of teachers looking for jobs in this district because they were coming in one after another of the deal. You know, and I didn't speak to the people, but like I said, looking back at the past and what we tried to do, like in the 2015 meeting, it's very, very difficult to try to get everything right and to appease everybody. And it's also very hard to understand sometimes, you know, but like I said, you know, we're trying to do the right thing here. We're not always going to get it right. And if there was an absolute abundance of money out there, we would certainly be spending it in the right areas.
Well, I think we do spend it.
Well, I do, but we don't have a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow or a money tree out back or anything else. It's an increasing cost year after year after year. Seemed to me to be expensive, and like I said, you know, I think Warrensburg, they just ratified their agreement. I think their teachers got 2%, but I think they absorbed a 7.5% increase in their insurance. You know, that's huge. So they didn't make any money. You know, that when you talk about this cohort, I was involved in doing research and adding schools to that cohort, Carrollton being one of them, and Warsaw being another. We were looking at the lunch program heavily and stuff, and I based the decision to have that added to it because Carrollton's student population is right at the same as ours, so with Warsaw, they have about the same number of buildings and the same number of administrators. So you try to compare apples to apples. You don't see Windsor or Greenridge up there. You don't see these little bitty schools. That one's in our Sherwood. Sherwood's not up there. You know, those teachers, and they're doing it because they love to teach, but on an average, they make considerably less than what our folks. Like I said, being a board member and trying to make decisions like this is very, very hard, and it certainly plays on a person as far as trying to do the right thing. I'm done.
My only question is, can we accept this proposal with modifications? With modification or only the $200 specialists?
I have another question. Has this information been accepted by the collective bargaining units for both bargaining tables and approved?
So I have two questions. The first one, the board can do whatever they wish to do. Process that involved multiple board members, administrators, and that segues into Mr. Hughes' question. Yes, I'm pleased to report that I was notified that the bargaining unit did ratify this agreement. I do not have the tally of that vote, but I was notified in writing and verbally that it had been approved by the bargaining unit. And this recommendation for salary increase is congruent with the terms of that tentatively ratified agreement ratified agreement that will be put forward to the board vote.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 2018-19 insurance premiums.
That motion was actually made to approve the certified salary schedule and stipends. Those were separate, agenda items, but since the motion was made that way, carried, we will pass over item B straight there. Just for matter of record.
I need a motion to approve the board paid health insurance premiums as presented.
So this is probably the area that both sides of the table in the bargaining process were least pleased with, I would say. However, the board has had many conversations regarding the costs, rising costs of insurance. So what I've provided up here is kind of a historical overview of where we've been with our increases. If you look at the bottom, back in 14-15, the board was contributing $6,480 annually to insurance. We rubbed the bottle, the genie popped out and said, hey, you get a 0% increase for 15-16. Actually, it wasn't a genie, it was claims data that allowed us to have that 0% increase, so we were excited there. Piper came around in 16-17 with a $444 increase from the prior year. The board has paid 100% of that cost, including that $440 increase in 16-17. That's per participant employee in the plan. That takes us to $69.24 per year. And then this year in 17-18, we had a $60 increase, which took us up to $69.84 for our total board contribution for the year. All of those were paid. So the difference down here, when we went to the 15-16 school year, we come from a $4,000 PPO to a $2,500 PPO to get that zero increase. So we went up essentially $1,500 in the PPO 2 years ago. Here we are again this year. We had an increase of about, I want to say 8.5%. And through the collective bargaining process, we voted, we proposed and tentatively agreed, and now that's been ratified, that the board would continue to offer 100% board paid insurance, but it's at a $3,500 PPO instead of $2,500. Again, I don't think either side of the table would necessarily love that, but you were talking about a significant increase in cost to maintain that $2,500 PPO, and this is just kind of the way it's going to probably continue to go, with especially pharmaceuticals and what we're waiting on that. And unfortunately, with our claims as a district, we just have not had great opportunities. For the last 2 years, we've gone out to bid. We did that again this year with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City, and then we came back with again an affordable rate to make that change. So if we have a good claim year this year, hopefully we can look at some other options and go from there. But for this year, we're recommending a full board paid $3,500 PPO, which is about $36 per year less of a benefit than what the board was paid last year.
And this is a motion.
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the premium recommended.
Need a second? All in favor? Aye. projects.
So this came in a little late into the agenda. Actually, may not have had a chance to see this. This is the same form that we used last year with just a list of items that we would like to try and accomplish over the summer. This really isn't an action item other than just putting this in front of the board for first read. Some of these are probably already in progress. The one that stands out on here that we have it on the table, but we have not committed to that yet, is looking at that cafeteria remodel at the high school, just to open up some space and try to get a better cafeteria commons area, servicing that building in our activities. That's one that, frankly, we're going to wait and see where our last impact aid payment comes in this month before I would speak to the board directly about approval on that, but it's something that we talked about and proposed. So this is about $100,000 in outlay that we hope to get accomplished this summer. And again, this is really open up for feedback from the board or input, and then Mr. Bazinga is here if you have any questions. And if not, we can, like I said, we can field feedback on that through next month. If this cafeteria project at the high school is something that we do, we would want to definitely be tracking that down by next month so we can get our bids back and move from there.
I'd like to put out a call to all of our district community and school members that I've discussed and looked at the ideas behind this cafeteria upgrade at the high school, and I firmly believe that it is a action for well-being for all of the, not just the students, but for everyone in the district that utilizes that facility. And it's, for the cost, it's very impressive what it will bring to that facility. And in the future, if the community grows, the public school system area grows, to the point that our high school is maximum capacity, this would just further enhance this project for the future. So anyway, I just want to put that out. Anyone that would have any ideas towards that, I'd like to see Dr. Wheeler discuss it with them, and perhaps even some volunteers and donations from the community in that area would be a nice surprise. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is budget work sessions. This is just for discussion and information only.
So each year with the board joins me in a budget work session to basically look at the preliminary proposed budget, provide input, and some ample time for me to go back and make those adjustments before we bring forward a recommendation in June. So I am just needing some feedback on what a good date is to hold that. Right now, I was hoping we could do that in June 4th, June 5th, or June 6th, and we could do that during the day or evening, whatever works best for the board. Actually, June 6th, I think, is the base community council luncheon, so if we did do that during that day, we could go before or after that.
That's two meetings in one day.
I like the idea of June 5th. It's Tuesday. The 6th, I'm got other obligations still on it.
Anybody got what's going on for it? Got something going on Monday and for it? So I'm sorry. Well, that's That's just totally unacceptable.
Probably with the high school.
Good morning, Carol.
High school.
So fourth, fifth, and sixth, neither one of them days.
We actually leave the fifth, but I'm a really bad packer, so.
I got you.
Of course.
So,
Prepare.
none of those days are good for you.
25, yeah. I'll be thinking about you though.
No, you won't, stop. But you can't bring chocolate.
Afternoon, the day, right around 9, I think it's 9 here.
Well, I get out of school, so
Oh, that's right.
the fourth, I got things going on the fifth in the evening.
I'm good on.
But on the fourth, I'm good all day.
I would have to look at the fourth little part. I think I got something going on like figure out what to look at. The fifth would be better for me. You know. It doesn't have to be better, but I'll look at the fourth and I want to.
Tom?
I prefer Wednesday. I'm flexible.
Leslie, have fun.
I'll be with Leslie and the kids.
So it looks like the fourth is the day for.
Students. Okay, fourth, all right, and that will be afternoon, evening.
That'll leave up to everyone else available anytime.
I'll wait until I hear from the district of the game.
That's all right.
You bet, just let me know, I think it sounds like we're reasonably flexible.
Can you make me a decision? Yeah.
So, in the amount of time that it took to, come up with that date, I wanted to pause to let you guys know that we are back-to-back district champions in baseball. Pretty excited about that. Need a motion to approve that.
Because I think it's a done deal, isn't it?
Congratulations to Coach Mark Carey, his team coaches and our student athletes for that run, and let's wish them luck as they get through, I think, either Summit Christian or Holden next round.
That's still a relatively young baseball squad. Got a bright future. Do you have track pictures?
I don't, just because they weren't timely. I was hoping everybody saw those, but we do have, since you brought that up, we do have an assembly planned, and thanks to Mr. Brett and Mr. Corlon for doing the trailers and videos again. Tomorrow afternoon at 12:35 at the high school, we'll have a similar setup that we did for wrestling. So we're kind of hoping, we've kind of been modeling these things, these tough assemblies and the lights and the videos and the fun. So we're hoping we can continue to model that and we can get that already norm. But we sent 8 kids for wrestling. I think we have about 20 or so that are going to state track. And so we have that going. And on Friday, we have General Herrensack will be at Northwestern High School to address our student body as well. So that'll be more of an academic STEM pep rally.
Under oath.
I understand the NC is really good at those things.
He doesn't need to quit his day job. All right.
Okay, under old business, we have graduation procedures.
This is just again for the record for the board. We will meet at 1 o'clock for pictures. And just take our board photos. I know we have pictures last year from everyone. If it's sunny again, we probably will only get a picture from our new board member, and then we'll do a group photo. So look forward to that, and hopefully we'll have great weather for our commencement ceremonies.
And on a note to follow that up, and you all know who you are. I don't want to call you out here. in this open session, fill out your website stuff. You know who you are. Thank you, Leslie, for doing yours. There you go. I will not call on anyone else. 2017-18 budget amendment.
So this is another agenda item that the details came to you late, so if the board doesn't feel comfortable voting on this, I certainly am okay with that. I did want to share that we did do our uploads. With our anticipated revenues and our uploads on our new expenses. And we increased in our revenues from the originally adopted budget, increased in our expenditures from the regularly adopted budget by about 5%. Our revenues, the good news is our revenues are projected right now to be higher than expected as well. We do believe that we're trying to be optimistic but also cautious. But right now, if in fact the revenues come in May and June where we anticipate, and if our state funding holds steady, then we'll be very pleased with where we end up financially. So we did not include everything that we expect in the budget, so we've been cautiously optimistic. But the budget amendment you'll see on our revenues looks pretty good. Expenditures again are up by around 5% of what was originally budgeted, and we will operate as a balanced budget this year. Again, if the board does not want to take action on that, and since it came in late, I'm okay with that, and we can just wait until next month then, and then I'll make a final amendment. If the board is comfortable, then we will entertain that motion.
And I will refer to this.
I make the motion that we adopt the
All in favor? Aye.
And this is some reason I thought I had that in the narrative, but this is what we're looking at on our revenues. Looking solid. This is our projected difference from the original budgeted in the expenditures. I will say on this 2.7 million, remember that 1.7 million of that is that makeup impact from last year. That was not included. We knew it was going to happen, but I didn't include it in that original proposed budget because I didn't want it. It was an outlier, essentially. Yeah, it could come in late this year, but we hope that if it comes in on time, it will be in good shape.
Okay, and before we adjourn, that's just really bugging me. Can we get a little soft thing for his microphone? I mean, I know you didn't have anything to say today, but I mean, you just need a softy thing for him. Just
Was there going to be a show this year? No.
There's not. Oh. Okay. Good to know. All right, it's all of you.
Make a motion to adjourn the executive session pursuant to RSO 610-021, 313-2, and 1 by roll call vote. Second.
Hi, and we will meet at 7:30 in the executive session for, thank you all for coming.